Thank you so much, Tina. And thank you, Anthony, for some of those beautiful messages in song that really touched me. And I know that you have created those. It's what a wonderful theme your planning committee has created. The theme of release. Release. And I feel honored to be able to share my thoughts with you today about release. And so I've entitled my message, Release and Rise. Power to recover and rise above the stories, the struggles, and the storms that keep us stuck. So I'm here today to empower you to release whatever is holding you back. Release so that you can rise and rise to be all you can be. As human beings, we walk around with pictures and movies and memories in our minds of things in our past. And those pictures and those memories can be very painful. They can be full of anger and fear and regret and shame and blame. The pictures we carry may be visible to others, but some of them are invisible and they're tucked deep inside, continuing to hurt us. Those pictures can be full of grudges, gripes, grief, and regret, shame and blame. Some of the pain that, and as Anthony has said, God knows the pain that we've been through. God knows the pain that we've been through. Some of the pain may be self-inflicted. Some of it may have come from others. Some come from conflicts or even what's happening in the world around us, or even in our own little world, in our communities, in our families, in our homes, and even in our own hearts. So much is happening in the world today. All we have to do is turn on the television. We can see pain everywhere. Collectively, the world is in pain. If we want to see a shift in the world around us, we have to take steps to shift the world inside of us. Unresolved and unacknowledged pain keeps holding on to us. It keeps us in a prison of our own minds. When we're unable or even unwilling to face those issues, those difficulties, we are actually making a choice we're making a choice to stuff our pain. And when I think of that, I think of my own mother. My dad died at a very early age of 52. And a few days after my dad passed away, my mother, with a gritted teeth and a fist, she said, "I'll never get over the death of your father." What my mother said, she unwittingly was saying, "I refuse to heal." And that was perhaps her only way of knowing how to grieve or to be loyal to my dad. But unfortunately, my mom spent more than 12 years struggling with mental health issues, in and out of mental hospitals, mental wards. Such a tragedy. Friends, when our pain gets stuffed, or when we make a choice to not heal the pain, it doesn't go away. I think of a woman that my husband and I, Clay, met just 3 or 4 years ago. We were doing a seminar at one of the indigenous reserves. And this woman told, we were facilitating several seminars. And when it got close to the end, one beautiful woman spoke up and told her stories of addiction, of betrayal, of abortions, of in and out of relationships with illicit relationships with men. And the list went on, betraying family and friends and hurting so many. And when she made the choice to release all of that pain and to tell those stories that she'd never told another person. When she made the choice to release that pain and let go of the past, she said, I feel like a free woman. I feel like a free woman. It was such a glorious event to be able to witness that in her. Friends, it's an important point I want you to know is that the pain we hide or run from continues to pursue us. We need to let go of our preoccupation with the past. Did you get that? We need to release or let go of our preoccupation with the past. But I have good news. I have good news. The pain we face has the power to transform us. The power to transform us. You know, when you get hit with tough stuff, it can really knock you off your feet. But it's important to just get right back up and keep going. You know, Tina mentioned that I've been through a lot of stuff. Well, I have. We lived in Ethiopia. I was shot at. I escaped a violent attempted abduction. I recovered from a virulent strain of meningitis. Then back in Canada, I was involved in a nearly fatal head-on collision, 4.5 months in hospital, and then my brother was murdered. And the list goes on. Well, just a few years ago, I was diagnosed with a cancer on my nose. Basal cell carcinoma. It's not one that's severe and travels around the rest of your body, but I've had several reoccurrences. But when I was having surgery that day, they took out some of the tissue, wrapped me up ready to go home, but then put me out in this little special waiting room for post-op patients. And I waited, and pretty soon the doctor came out and said, Annette, I'm sorry, I have to go back in. I have to go deeper and wider. 4 times I went back into the operating room. And by the end, almost my entire left nostril was gone. The staff room was right nearby, and they heard me talking to the other patients there in the waiting room, recovery room. And the doctor said to me, how is it that you can be so upbeat in relation to what's going on? And I said, you know, I've learned to let go of the fear. I've learned to let go of the fear. My grandmother said, Annette, beauty is only skin deep. And I said, I know that God will take me through this. I may have a mutilated face, but my beauty is only skin deep. He referred me on to a fabulous surgeon that was specialized in reconstructing noses. And that surgeon took tissue from my cheek and created a new nostril. My husband at one point said to me, you look like you got 3 nostrils. That was because of the graft that had been done. But then when they released the graft, it began to heal and look pretty normal. But then, just a few months ago, Clay and I got up early one morning and suddenly he shouted, there's water everywhere. It was the coldest night of the year. A hot water pipe in our dining room burst and gushed gallons, hundreds of gallons of hot water all through our condo, went down through the floor and ceiling in the next unit and clear down to the first floor. You talk about a storm. People came and helped us. They started sucking up the water, and insurance arranged for all of our contents to be moved to a storage facility and arranged for us to have an alternate accommodation. 4 months in a motel. 4 months in a motel. Our life was in chaos. But you know what? People said, how are you coping with this? How can you maintain such a positive attitude? And I said, well, God has taught us a lot, that He is there to help us through these situations. And what did Clay and I learn? Clay and I learned to take one day at a time. We learned to be present and peaceful rather than whine and complain. And we learned to be grateful for a warm, clean space to stay. Because when you think of people around the world, and even in our own city, that don't have a clean, warm place, safe place to stay, we were grateful. We're back in our condo, and we're delighted. We're delighted. We're grateful for everything and all the support that we had. Well, you know what? Your stories matter. You have stories, and your stories deserve to be shared. Don't let a difficult story define you or keep you caged in pain or grief or discouragement or depression. Painful stories can rob us of our dignity. They can dismantle and malign our happiness. Many of you have stories to tell. Some have been so difficult that you haven't been able to tell anybody. I don't know your stories, but I know because of the work that I do with people in my coaching and in the seminars and in the personal interactions that there's a lot of pain. Some of you have had pain you've been able to share only with a small number of people. Due to painful past experiences, some may experience moments of feeling small, unworthy of happiness and love. Some carry feelings of shame and guilt and remorse. Some carry self-doubt or I'm not good enough. If we give ourselves permission to face our past mistakes and regrets, we can actually find immense clarity and freedom. Some people say, I'll start crying and I won't ever stop. Those tears are healing. But it's important to give ourselves permission to face those issues rather than continually looking back and living and reliving the pain, or else continuing to beat up on ourselves for the mistakes we've made. I pray that your story will be a stepping stone to unlocking the cage door that you're in, so that you can find a place of peace, growth, and change. I invite you to dip your toe into the beautiful water of freedom that comes from releasing what's keeping you caged up inside. Dip your toe into the beautiful water of freedom that helps you to release that, open that cage where you're keeping locked up. Ask yourself, what am I willing to let go of so that I can experience more peace, more joy, more unity, and more love? Unfortunately, as humans, we don't know how to deal with some of the issues that have hurt us or have hurt those that we love. And we don't know how to release our grip, on the pain and the power it has over us. Whether we realize it or not, our pain is what has shaped us into who we are today. I know that the painful experiences that I've been through throughout my entire life, I wouldn't want to have to go through them again, but they've made me a happy, confident, and passionate woman because I've been able to release and let go. Strength isn't about holding all of life together. Strength means letting your experience of emotions and giving yourself permission to feel. Some of you have experienced a wrecking ball kind of moments in life, and it's important to refuse to allow those things to destroy you. I'm here to give you courage to release your grip, to unlock the handcuffs of shame, to open the cage door that you're locked in, to drop the baggage that you're dragging along, or to let go of the chains that keep you confined. Make a choice. Make a choice to heal rather than to stay stuck in the quicksand of pain. You may be stuck, but you're not broken. That's really important to remember. You may be stuck, but you're not broken. God sees those broken places, and the light can shine through those broken places if you allow. It's time to turn those stories into hope and victory. Everywhere we see hurting people, people longing for freedom from the stories, struggles, and storms they've been in. You don't have to carry your stories and heavy burdens that weigh you down and keep you stuck. If we're not willing to look at the real problems in our lives, we can't solve them. We have to look at them. We have to name them. Avoiding the issues is like dragging and lugging a heavy suitcase full of stuff with us for the rest of our lives. Release them. Let go of that baggage. And the fastest way, my friends, to waste your life is to hold a grudge. When I think of that word grudge, I think of our friend Jerry. We'd known Jerry for many years. He and his brother played guitars together. But they had a silly disagreement over music. And do you know what? They hadn't spoken to each other for 20 years, yet they lived in the same city. One day, Jerry learned that his brother was in hospital dying of cancer. My husband Clay, who was his pastor at the time, said, "Jerry, I think you need to go to the hospital and make amends with your brother." Oh. He couldn't imagine doing that, but you know, he mustered the courage and he went into the hospital. And do you know what? After that, he went in almost every day to be with his brother until the day he died. What a waste. What a tragic waste of 20 years of a relationship. Don't let another year go by without resolving the estrangements that you might be experiencing. I want you to know that you truly have the power to release those stories, those struggles, those storms. Then I think of another story about Josh. Josh's mother told me this story. Josh and his very best friend were carousing town. They'd been drinking that night. They were involved in an accident, and Josh's best friend, his very best friend, was killed. At the funeral, Josh's dad said, "I'll never forgive you for what you did to my son." Do you think he intentionally had an accident? No, to kill his best friend. He spent time in prison, but when he came out, his parents thought, "Oh, we've made it." He had a girlfriend, was going to get married. But Josh couldn't live with the guilt, regret, and shame. And he died by suicide. 4 months later, the father of his very best friend died by suicide as well. They couldn't. She said, if only his dad could have had a little bit of compassion. My son didn't mean for that to happen. If only he'd had a little bit of compassion, maybe, just maybe, 2 people would still be alive today. You know, we have many, many, many friends that have gone through really tough stuff. I think of our friend Stephanie, graduated from law school, and then was involved in a very serious accident, hit a moose, and she was a quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. When we visited her in the hospital, she said, I just feel like a head perched on a dead body. And I said, Stephanie, your head and your brain is brilliant. She didn't want to live. Do you know what? She went back and got a PhD, quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down, got a PhD, and then went on and got another degree, a master's degree. Today she holds the Azrieli Fellowship in Law and Disability Policy at the University of Calgary. She was able to release her grief and release her loss. Friends, you aren't what happens to you. You are how you overcome it. In conclusion, release is all about choice. Release your stories and storms. You can choose to let your stories and storms define you, and you can choose to let them confine you. You can choose to let them refine you, or even outshine you. But most importantly, you can choose to release and leave them behind you. Name it, feel it, choose it to heal it. Let go of it, forgive yourself and others, and now you'll be free of it. So today you can rise and soar above it. Make a commitment today, my friends. Make a commitment today. It's a choice. Release and rise is a lifestyle and lifetime choice. I encourage you to make that choice today. And I pray that you'll be determined to release the past, regardless of what it is. Release and rise so you can soar like eagles above the storms and struggles, above the trials and turmoil. Release, 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 and rise.